All right, welcome back, everybody. Here's your forecast as we head into the next few days. Well, as we prepare for our upcoming winter storm, we do have winter storm watches that are in effect for much of East Texas. That starts at 6 a.m. on Friday and goes until noon on Sunday. This is expected to be an all-weekend event featuring freezing rain, sleet, and potentially a little bit of snow in the mix as well. But for today, we will continue to track rain at least until this evening. Temperatures will make their way into the upper 50s and low 60s with rain beginning to taper off. And we'll continue to see some clouds linger into your Thursday. Temperatures will start out in the 40s to near 50. And we'll all end up in the 50s to near 60 for the afternoon on Thursday. And once this system moves in on Friday, we're talking around the evening hours, the dinner time to late evening hours. It'll all start out as rain, but notice further to the north, you can see that transition from rain into freezing rain, sleet, and if you go far enough north, you will see a little bit of snow, and that's because of where the air mass, this Arctic air mass, is going to be positioned, and this is expected to move pretty far to the south. The edge of it will be well south of Houston, and depending on where it is and how fast it's going to be moving, that will kind of help us determine how much of each precipitation type that we're going to be seeing. So freezing rain, sleet, both going to be a very likely possibility, plus a little bit of snow as we go deeper into that cold air mass. That'll be likely into part of the day on Sunday. Here's a storm timeline here. So Friday, it all starts as rain, but as that air mass continues to move further and further to the south, we'll eventually see that transition into freezing rain and eventually sleet. Freezing rain is rain that freezes right on the surfaces, and that will give you your ice. That's something that we do not want at all. And then sleet are those little ice pellets that you see. That's rain that freezes on the way down. Not quite as impactful, but might cause a little bit of travel difficulties. But it's really the freezing rain that we're going to be watching for very, very closely. And as we move into Saturday night, freezing rain and sleet will continue, and the temperatures will continue to fall. And as they continue to do so, as we get deeper into the air mass that we're going to be watching for here, there will be a chance for a little bit of snow as the air mass grows a little bit deeper into the area. So what's likely, what's possible, and what's not likely? What's likely is this cold air mass. We are expecting lows in the teens and temperatures to be below freezing. At or below freezing for about 60 to 65 hours. Not quite as long as February 2021, where we saw 130 to 140 hours of at or below freezing temperatures. So I don't think it'll be quite as bad as the winter storm back in 2021, but it certainly still will be pretty impactful. And what's possible here, we're looking at the possibility for freezing rain and sleet changing to snow eventually into later parts of Saturday and into early Sunday. Again, that's as we move deeper into that colder air mass. Now here's a look at ice accumulation from one model here. We are likely looking at between a half an inch up to maybe about an inch in some locations as of this data set. Now there's still a little bit of room for some change over the next few days. But I would say that ice is going to be a very likely possibility no matter how much we're going to see here. I do expect some power outages to be pretty likely across the area, and overall pretty treacherous conditions on the roadway. So here's a look at ice accumulations and their impacts here. Even as little as 1/10 of an inch, that's 0.1. Light glaze on roads and sidewalks, slick bridges that'll coat your windshield. Also isolated power outages, so not quite as widespread, but as you get into the 1/4 of an inch to half an inch or greater, you'll notice some icy roads, tree limbs sagging and breaking, numerous to even widespread power outages, and long-term power outages could be possible if we get into that level of a half an inch or greater. And given the amount of time we're expected to spend below freezing, which will likely linger into parts of next week with lows in the teens and highs in the 20s and possibly the low 30s, I do expect that these icy conditions will continue. So we'll keep you updated on the latest when it comes to the winter storm.